Shout out to Elijah. Shout out to Louie. Shout out to Miava. Sorry if I mispronounce your name. Shout out to Adele. Shout out to Hannah. Shout out to Aaliyah. Thank you, Louie. Write your name in the chat if you want me to shout you out. Hello, everyone. Welcome. Shout out to Gloria. Welcome. Hello, everyone. Write your name in the chat if you want me to shout you out. Shout out to Trinity. Hello, everyone. Write your name in the chat if you want me to shout you out. Shout out to Maddie. Shout out to Avery. Shout out to Josiah. Shout out to Leah. Shout out to Annie. Shout out to Charlotte. Shout out to Jocelyn. Shout out to Delaney. Shout out to Carl. Shout out to Kaden. Shout out to Amy. Shout out to Aitana. Shout out to Audrey. Shout out to Cal. Shout out to Raya, sorry if I mispronounced your name. Shout out to Jordy, happy birthday. Shout out to Memphis. Shout out to Max. Shout out to Zara. Shout out to Vanya. Sorry if I mispronounced your name. Shout out to Zeke. Oops. Shout out to Asher. Shout out to Zeke. Shout out to Angelina. Shout out to Dakota. Shout out to Reynard. Shout out to Heidi. Shout out to Katrina. Shout out to Melody. Shout out to Alicia or Alicia. Shout out to Riley. Shout out to Cadence. Shout out to Kennedy. Shout out to Albert Wesker. Shout out to Mariana. Shout out to Bonner. Shout out to Kippy. Shout out to Rain. Shout out to Adelie. Shout out to Albert Wesker. Thank you so much. I truly appreciate it. Shout out to Albert Wesker. Thank you for your support. Shout out to Zaza. Shout out to Maggie. Shout out to Bobby. Shout out to Matthew. Shout out to Olivia. Shout out to Abby. Shout out to Rosie. Shout out to Mia. Shout out to Alondra. Shout out to Luke. Shout out to McKenna. Shout out to Michael. Shout out to Alaska. Shout out to Royal. Shout out to Marin or Marin. Shout out to Avery. Shout out to Jacob. Shout out to Aisha. Shout out to Star. Shout out to Rhea. Shout out to Alexandra. Shout out to Ellen. Leave a like if you're enjoying the live stream. Thank you so much for being here. I truly appreciate it. Shout out to Autumn. Shout out to Owen. Shout out to Olivia. Thank you for subscribing. Shout out to Maya. Shout out to Noah. Shout out to Ada or Ada. Shout out to Alec. Shout out to Bristol. Shout out to Ezra. Thank you for subscribing. Shout out to Yuvia. Shout out to Ella. Shout out to Sahir. Shout out to Liam. Shout out to Carol. Shout out to Kimberly. Shout Shout out to Amelia. Shout out to Zoe. Shout out to Carter. Shout out to Hayden's. Shout out to Sean. Shout out to Ben. Shout out to Erica. Shout out to Taylor. Happy birthday. Shout out to these people. Write your name in the chat if you want me to shout you out. On to the next page. Thank you so much for your patience. I truly appreciate it. Please like and subscribe if you enjoy the shout outs. I live stream every day around the same time as this. Thank you for your support. Thank you for being here. Shout out to ZZ Benz. Thank you so much. I truly appreciate it. Shout out to ZZ Benz. Thank you for your support. Shout out to Dexton. Shout out to Diego. Shout out to Linnea, or Lanaya. Sorry if I mispronounced your name. Shout out to Emma. I'm gonna write your name again because I kind of messed up. Shout out to Echo. Shout out to Elise. Shout out to Evergreen. Shout out to Cassidy. Shout out to Fatima. Shout out to Vanessa. Shout out to Kayla. Shout out to Lucia. Shout out to Serenity. Shout out to Corina. Shout out to Sindhu. Sorry if I mispronounced your name. Shout out to Sophia. Shout out to Landon. Shout out to Trinity. Shout out to Sindhu, I got you. Shout out to Liliana. Shout out to Jessica. Shout out to Aubrey. Shout out to Lynette. Lynette Elbara. Thank you so much. I truly appreciate it. Oops, I messed up. Lynette. Shout out to Lynette. Thank you so much for your support. I truly appreciate it. Shout out to Phoenix. Shout out to Crystal Dalton. Thank you so much. I truly appreciate it. Shout out to Crystal Dalton. Thank you for your support. Shout out to Mike. Shout out to Linda. Shout out to Aria. Shout out to Emily. Shout out to Crystal Dalton. Thank you so much. I truly appreciate it. Shout out to Crystal. Thank you for your support. Shout out to Guitar Benji. Thank you so much. I truly appreciate it. Shout out to Guitar Benji. Thank you for your support. Shout out to Ramiro. Shout out to Austin. Shout out to Brian. Shout out to Anthony. Shout out to Lauren. Shout out to Camila. Shout out to Kelsey. Shout out to Marcus. Shout out to Nora. Shout out to Eddie. Shout out to Jeff. Shout out to Elliot. Shout out to Denaya. Thank you for subscribing. Leave a like if you're enjoying the live stream. Thank you so much for being here. I truly appreciate it. Shout out to Giovanni. Shout out to Kaden. Shout out to Bella. Shout out to Florence. Shout out to Kendra. Shout out to Grace. Shout out to Mary Beth. Shout out to Izzy. Shout out to Julian. Shout out to Sean. Shout out to Tia. Shout out to Mary Beth, I got you. Shout out to Valerie. Shout out to Ruby. Shout out to Rukaya. Sorry if I mispronounced your name. Shout out to Mackenzie. Shout out to Jacob. Shout out to Abby. Shout out to Ashton. Shout out to Emery. Shout out to Aiden. Shout out to Crystal. Shout out to Chloe. Shout out to Elliot. Shout out to these people. On to the next page. Please like and subscribe if you enjoy the live stream. I live stream every day around the same time as this. Thank you so much for being here. Please like and subscribe if you enjoy the live stream. It would truly help me out. Shout out to Caleb. Shout out to Ashley. Shout out to Sinhu. Shout out to Kinley. Shout out to Jolene. Shout out to Lake. Shout out to Elijah. Shout out to Sammy. Shout out to Penelope. Shout out to Daisy. Shout out to Kylie. Sorry if I mispronounce your name. Shout out to Brantley. Shout out to Danae. Shout out to Timberland. Shout out to Ari. Shout out to Kara or Kara. Shout out to Lamar. Shout out to Robin. Shout out to Adrian. Shout out to Shout out to Ali Giron. Thank you so much. I truly appreciate it. Shout out to Ali Giron. Thank you for your support. Shout out to Luna. Shout out to Lila Marie. Shout out to Lucas. Shout out to Dikshita. Sorry if I mispronounce your name. Thank you for your support. Shout out to Amy. Shout out to Dalton. I'm doing well. Thank you for asking. How about you? Shout out to Adeline. Shout out to Belle. Shout out to Eliza. Shout out to Hina. Shout out to Declan. Shout out to Jaquan. Shout out to Callie. Shout out to Dylan. Shout out to Millie. Shout out to Rourke. Shout out to Izzy. Shout out to Cannon. Shout out to Luciano or Luciano. Sorry if I mispronounce your name. Shout out to Yesna. Shout out to Easton. Shout out to Courtney. Shout out to Christina. Shout out to Hazley. Shout out to Trixie. Shout out to Philip. Is Philip with 2 L's? Oh yeah, it is. Leave a like if you're enjoying the live stream. Thank you so much for being here. I truly appreciate it. Shout out to Joanne. Shout out to Corina. Shout out to Emerson. Shout out to Veda. Shout out to Leilani. Shout out to Zakaden. Shout out to Pollyanna. Shout out to King. Shout out to Peyton. Shout out to Emily. Shout out to Ellie. Shout out to Kai Kai. Shout out to Matilda. Shout out to Princess. Shout out to Kiki. Shout out to Ethan. Shout out to Vivian. Shout out to Aiden. Shout out to Lynn. Shout out to Anzen. Shout out to Ale. Whoops. Shout out to Michelle. Shout out to Cohen. Leave a like if you're enjoying the live stream. Thank you so much for being here. Shout out to Prince. Shout out to Oliver. Shout out to Christian. Shout out to Bridget. Shout out to Jason. Shout out to Alice. Shout out to Jane. Shout out to Charlie. Shout out to Bryson. Shout out to Jaden. Shout out to Alyssa. Shout out to Helena. Shout out to Rose. Shout out to Faith. Shout out to Lily. Shout out to Stella. Shout out to Wiley. Shout out to Marie. Shout out to Hudson. Shout out to Ember. Shout out to Byron. Thank you so much. I truly appreciate it. Shout out to Byron. Thank you for your support. Shout out to Luciana. Or Luciana. Sorry if I mispronounced your name. Shout out to Musa. Shout out to these people. On to the next page. Please like and subscribe if you're enjoying the live stream. I live stream every day around the same time as this. Thank you so much for being here. I truly appreciate it. Shout out to Noah. Shout out to Santiago. Shout out to Charlie. Shout out to Nakasha. Sorry if I mispronounced your name. Shout out to Molly. Shout out to Rosie. Shout out to Delexa. Shout out to Reagan. Shout out to Melanie. Shout out to Phoenix. Shout out to Mohammed. Shout out to Jenny. Shout out to Ivy. Shout out to Karen. Shout out to Madison. Shout out to Mary Ellen. Shout out to Khaleesi. Shout out to Emma. Shout out to Genesis. Shout out to Miss Ryan. Shout out to Areli. Shout out to Sienna. Shout out to Neon. Shout out to Z. Happy birthday. Shout out to Charlotte. Shout out to Jones. Shout out to Mason. Shout out to Lexington. Shout out to Foxy. Shout out to Hudson. Shout out to Ava. Shout out to Beatrice. Shout out to Nayeli. Shout out to Daniel. Shout out to Crystal. Shout out to Tegan. Shout out to Tyler. Shout out to Ladea. Shout out to Margaret. Shout out to Vanity. Shout out to Zoe. Shout out to Venus. Shout out to Sophia. Shout out to Y Buon Ksor. Thank you so much. I truly appreciate it. I'm so sorry if I mispronounced. I know I mispronounced your name. I'm so sorry. Shout out to Y Buon Ksor. Thank you so much for your support. Shout out to Hannah. Shout out to Jojo. Leave a like if you're enjoying the live stream. Thank you so much for being here. I truly appreciate it. Shout out to Courtney. Thank you for subscribing. Shout out to Kason. Shout out to Juliet. Shout out to Melissa. Thank you for subscribing. Shout out to Megan. Whoopsie, I messed up. Shout out to Declan. Shout out to Yaleen. Shout out to Gabby. Shout out to Bryson. Shout out to Kaza. Shout out to Jace. Shout out to Mia. Shout out to Jayla. Shout out to Alexis. Shout out to Yasi. Thank you for subscribing. Shout out to Luciana. Shout out to Bernice. Shout out to Jade. Shout out to Michaela. Shout out to Justin. Shout out to William. Shout out to Mika or Micah. Sorry if I mispronounced your name. Shout out to Frankie. Shout out to Raylan. Shout out to Kira. Shout out to Malachi. Shout out to Alana. Shout out to Huanani. Sorry if I mispronounced your name. Shout out to Natalie. Shout out to Isabella. Shout out to Crystal. Shout out to Zycharm. Shout out to Rayal. Shout out to Ezra. Thank you for subscribing. Shout out to Galaxy. Shout out to Maddie. Thank you for subscribing. Shout out to Nabil. Shout out to Jesus. Shout out to Kylie. Shout out to Jenna Dean. Shout out to Raven. Shout out to Sarah. Shout out to Katie. Shout out to Kailani. Thank you for subscribing. Shout out to these people. Leave a like if you're enjoying the live stream. Thank you so much for being here. On to the next page. Thank you also for your patience. I know I don't write the fastest, so I appreciate you taking the time to write your name. Please like and subscribe if you enjoy the live stream. I also post other content like this. I do cute greeting cards, tutorials. If you're interested in checking it out, I post my tutorials on YouTube Shorts. I hope you can check it out and support my channel. I would truly appreciate it. Your support means a lot to me, and I appreciate it. I also do Valentine cards with Valentine's Day coming up. I hope you can check out my channel and see if there's any tutorials you'd like to follow. I do these as well for friends or loved ones. And I do birthday cards. I hope you can check it out. I would truly appreciate it. Thank you so much for being here. Shout out to Kalia. Thank you for subscribing. Shout out to Tala. Shout out to Lauren. Shout out to Omega. Shout out to Jerusha. Shout out to Malachi. Sorry if I mispronounce your name. Shout out to Bakash. Shout out to Amelia. Shout out to Donut Dancer. Shout out to Steven. Shout out to Judah. Shout out to Tyla. Shout out, whoops, I spelled Tyler wrong. Shout out to Tyla. Shout out to Kinza. Sorry if I mispronounced your name. Shout out to Blaze. Shout out to Violet. Shout out to Neon. Shout out to Grayson. Shout out to Zoe. Shout out to Isla Camacho. Thank you so much. I truly appreciate it. Shout out to Isla Camacho. Thank you for your support. Shout out to Patrick. Shout out to Yamaris. Shout out to Naomi. Leave a like if you're enjoying the live stream. Shout out to Darius. Shout out to Eric. Shout out to Cameron. Shout out to Jackson. Thank you for subscribing. Shout out to Yesna. Shout out to Daniela. Shout out to Kiara. Shout out to Meadow. Shout out to Nayeli. Shout out to Yules. Shout out to Ion or Ian. Sorry if I mispronounced your name. Shout out to Kitsune. Sorry if I mispronounced your name. Shout out to Sage. Shout out to Jaylee. Shout out to Charlie. Shout out to Delaney. Shout out to Margaret. Shout out to Noemi. Shout out to Cash. Shout out to Remy. Shout out to Aaliyah. Thank you for your support. Shout out to Sophia. Shout out to Udaya. Sorry if I mispronounced your name. Leave a like if you're enjoying the live stream. Thank you so much for being here. I truly appreciate it. Shout out to Cade Carlson. Thank you so much. I truly appreciate it. Shout out to Cade Carlson. Thank you for your support. Shout out to Luciano. Shout out to Cameron. Shout out to Renesmee. Shout out to Brooklyn. Shout out to Angel. Shout out to Brandon. Shout out to Solimar. Sorry if I mispronounced your name. Shout out to Bronx. Shout out to Matthew. Shout out to Audrey. Shout out to Van. Shout out to Kelvin. Shout out to Chrissia. Sorry if I mispronounced your name. Shout out to Brianna. Shout out to Gavin. Shout out to Laura. Shout out to Roshana Rabigum. Gum. I'm so sorry if I mispronounced your name. Thank you so much for your support. I truly appreciate it. Shout out to Roshana. Shout out to Charlie Gomez. Thank you so much. I truly appreciate it. Thank you for your support. Shout out to Charlie. Shout out to Yesha. Shout out to Kingston. Shout out to Rihanna. Shout out to Hazel. Leave a like if you're enjoying the live stream. Thank you so much for being here. I truly appreciate it. Shout out to Ivy. Shout out to Gideon. Shout out to Kimberly. Shout out to Ava. Shout out to Alora. Shout out to Rafai. Sorry if I mispronounced your name. Shout out to Kaylin. Shout out to Nyla. Shout out to Santiago. Shout out to Kinsley. Shout out to Amarna. Shout out to Latika. Shout out to Lucy. Thank you for subscribing. Shout out to Matavian. Sorry if I mispronounced your name. Shout out to Camille. Shout out to Rax. Shout out to Avery. Shout out to Itzel. Shout out to Jax. Shout out to Aria. Shout out to Isaiah. Shout out to Salvador. Shout out to these people. Leave a like if you're enjoying the live stream. On to the next page. Thank you so much for being here. I truly appreciate it. Write your name in the chat if you want me to shout you out. I live stream every day around the same time as this. Also, please check out my channel. My name's Ness from NessDIYcorner. Check out my channel. I would truly appreciate it. Shout out to Julieta. Shout out to Brona. Sorry if I mispronounce your name. Shout out to Tori. Shout out to Rainbow. Shout out to Jeremiah Munoz. Thank you so much. I truly appreciate it. Jeremiah. Shout out to Jeremiah Munoz. Thank you for your support. Shout out to Rain. Shout out to Noah. Shout out to Diana. Shout out to Catherine Hare. Thank you so much. I truly appreciate it. Shout out to Catherine Hare. Thank you for your support. Shout out to Hudson. Shout out to Delasa. Sorry if I mispronounced your name. Delasha. Shout out to Daisy. Shout out to Nicole. Shout out to Paul. Shout out to Skylar. Shout out to Mackenzie. Shout out to Soledad. Shout out to Maddie. Shout out to Stella. Shout out to Pepe. Shout out to Colton. Shout out to Cairo or Kiro. Sorry if I mispronounced your name. Shout out to Aliana. Sorry if I mispronounced your name. Leave a like if you're enjoying the live stream. Shout out to Skylar. Shout out to Cash. Shout out to Pazaya. Sorry if I mispronounced your name. Shout out to McKaylee. Shout out to Shout out to Henry. Shout out to Jade. Shout out to Angelo. Shout out to Zyra. Shout out to Donna. Shout out to Luan or Lowen. Sorry if I mispronounced your name. Shout out to Brett. Shout out to Maya. Shout out to Genesis. Shout out to Stone. Shout out to Phoenix. Sorry if I mispronounced your name. Shout out to Riley. Shout out to Aubrey. Shout out to Helena. Shout out to Jason. Thank you. Shout out to Aria. Shout out to Sophia. Shout out to Bela. Shout out to Layla. Leave a like if you're enjoying the live stream. Thank you so much for being here. I truly appreciate it. Shout out to Arwin. Shout out to Camry. Shout out to Jacob. Shout out to Blake. Shout out to Eileen. Shout out to Jessica. Shout out to Zia. Thank you for subscribing. Shout out to Chaz. Shout out to Damani. Shout out to Elizabeth. Shout out to Nelly. Shout out to Julian. Shout out to Nezuko. Shout out to Aria. Shout out to Destiny. Shout out to Remy. Shout out to Lucy. Shout out to Willie. Shout out to Gabriella. Please like and subscribe if you're enjoying the live stream. Shout out to Pablo. Shout out to Noah. Shout out to Kim. Shout out to Xavier. Shout out to Liliana. Shout out to Natalie. Shout out to Millie. Shout out to Everett. Shout out to Kinsley. Thank you for subscribing. Shout out to Layla. Shout out to Alexa. Shout out to JC. Shout out to Peter. Shout out to Sophia. Shout out to Mina. I'm so sorry if I haven't gotten to you. The live stream's moving really fast. Shout out to Nick. Shout out to Peyton. Shout out to Justin. Shout out to Susie. Leave a like if you're enjoying the live stream. Shout out to Blakely. Shout out to Talia. Shout out to Rhea, or Raya. Sorry if I mispronounced your name. Shout out to Dawson. Shout out to Allison. Shout out to Jesse. Shout out to Joey. Shout out to McKenna. Shout out to these people. Please like and subscribe if you enjoy the shout outs. I live stream every day around the same time as this. I also post other content like tutorials for especially Valentine's Day coming up. I hope you can check it out as well. I do birthday card tutorials as well. Please check out my channel. On to the next page. Thank you so much for being here. I truly appreciate it. Write your name in the chat if you want me to shout you out. Also, thank you for your patience. I know I don't write the fastest, so I appreciate you taking the time to write your name. Thank you so much for being here. Shout out to Gretchen. Shout out to Easton. Shout out to Avery. Shout out to Athena. Shout out to Steve. Thank you for subscribing. Shout out to Christopher. Shout out to Marmar. Shout out to Irene Whitestes. Thank you so much. I truly appreciate it. Shout out to Irene. Thank you for your support. Shout out to Anita. Shout out to Eden. Shout out to Daphne. Shout out to Elena. Shout out to Amina. Leave a like if you're enjoying the live stream. Shout out to Emiliano. Shout out to Grayson. Shout out to Roxalia. Sorry if I mispronounced your name. Shout out to Bianca. Shout out to Lila. Shout out to Foxy the Pirate. Thank you so much. I truly appreciate it. Shout out to Foxy the Pirate. Thank you for your support. Shout out to Ayub. Sorry if I mispronounced your name. Shout out to Maybella. Shout out to Star. Shout out to Sky. Shout out to Irene. Thank you so much. I truly appreciate it. Shout out to Irene Whitestes. Thank you for your support. Shout out to Gisela. Shout out to Kinsley. Shout out to Victor. Shout out to Chris. Shout out to Burgundy. Shout out to Emilio. Shout out to Jessica. Thank you for subscribing. Shout out to Isabel. Shout out to Renata. Shout out to Nezuko. Whoops, I messed up. Shout out to Zaza. Shout out to Megan. Shout out to Layla. Shout out to Johan. Please like and subscribe if you're enjoying the live stream. Thank you so much for being here. Shout out to Charles. Shout out to JC. Shout out to Araya. Shout out to Celestine. Shout out to Iris. Shout out to Savannah. Shout out to Parker. Shout out to Farah. Or Farah. Sorry if I mispronounced your name. Shout out to River. Shout out to Haley. Shout out to Trisha. Shout out to Emily. Shout out to Cassidy. Shout out to Kimberly. Shout out to Varang. Sorry if I mispronounced your name. Shout out to Evelyn. Shout out to Noah. Shout out to Jared. Shout out to Catherine. Whoops, how do you spell Catherine? I'm Catherine. Oh, there we go. Shout out to Clarabelle. Shout out to Azalea. Shout out to Arturo. Shout out to Ying Xuan. Sorry if I mispronounced your name. Shout out to Warisha. Sorry if I mispronounced your name. Shout out to Joseph. Shout out to Kiara. Shout out to Chong Bin. Sorry if I mispronounced your name. Shout out to Princess. Shout out to June. Shout out to A Rose. Leave a like if you're enjoying the live stream. It would truly help me out if you leave a like or subscribe or both. I would truly appreciate it. Shout out to Kelly. Shout out to Alexis. Shout out to Samaya. Shout out to Willow. Shout out to Ariana. Shout out to Besme. Shout out to Juliet. Shout out to Zoe. Shout out to Mimi. Shout out to Alexa. Shout out to Aiden. Shout out to Nani. Shout out to Robert Leonardo. Thank you so much. I truly appreciate it. Thank you for your support. Shout out to Robert Leonardo. Shout out to Janae. Shout out to Joshua. Shout out to Jory. Shout out to Osvaldo. Shout out to Brianna. Shout out to Evie. Shout out to Marie. Shout out to Lyric. Shout out to Kana or Kana. Sorry if I mispronounced your name. Shout out to these people. On to the next page. Please like and subscribe if you're enjoying the live stream. Thank you so much for being here. I truly appreciate it. Also, thank you for your patience. I know I don't write the fastest, so I appreciate you taking the time to write your name. Thank you, thank you. And I'm so sorry if I haven't gotten to your name. I live stream every day around the same time as this. Thank you so much for being here. Shout out to Mercedes. Shout out to Cynthia. Shout out to Kamoya. Shout out to Angel. Shout out to Ava. Shout out to Roxana. Shout out to Anthony. Shout out to Dakota. Shout out to Domenica. Shout out to Atif. Shout out to Adrian. Shout out to Penny. Shout out to Elisa. Shout out to Sophia. Shout out to Yeep. Shout out to Jade. Shout out to Nevaeh. Shout out to Presley. Shout out to Christiana. Shout out to Jen. Shout out to Stephanie. Thank you. They're like a navy blue, like a, I forgot. It's like a ocean blue. Shout out to Paola. Shout out to Haiti. Leave a like if you're enjoying the live stream. Shout out to Natalie. Shout out to Chevelle. Shout out to Amina. Shout out to Vanessa. Shout out to Serenity. Shout out to Gigi. Shout out to Ebon. Shout out to Atalia. Shout out to Hannah. Thank you for subscribing. Shout out to Robin. Shout out to Luke's Princess. Thank you so much. I truly appreciate it. Shout out to Luke's Princess. Thank you for your support. Shout out to Aubrey. Thank you for subscribing. Shout out to Neptune. Shout out to Brady. Shout out to Jessica. Thank you so much. I truly appreciate it. Shout out to Jessica. Thank you for your support. Shout out to Paitley. Sorry if I mispronounce your name. Shout out to Warren. Shout out to Tyla. Sorry if I mispronounce your name. Shout out to Lucas. Shout out to Ava. Shout out to Carly. Shout out to Adriana. Shout out to Ava. Oh, Ava, I got you. Shout out to Katie. Leave a like if you're enjoying the live stream. Thank you so much for being here. I truly appreciate it. Shout out to Terrence Voorhees. Thank you so much. I truly appreciate it. Shout out to Terrence Voorhees. Thank you for your support. Shout out to Saredo. Sorry if I mispronounced your name. Shout out to Gwen. Shout out to Nylia. Sorry if I mispronounce your name. Shout out to Lydia. Shout out to Kensley. Shout out to Everly. Shout out to Brinley. Shout out to Shakai. Sorry if I mispronounce your name. Shout out to Haley. Shout out to Aaliyah. Shout out to Mallory. Shout out to Riley. Shout out to Stefan. Sorry if I mispronounce your name. Shout out to JB. Shout out to Dakota. Shout out to Charlotte. Shout out to Luna. Shout out to Sindhu. Sorry if I mispronounce your name. Shout out to Arlisa. Shout out to Stacy. Shout out to Eastlyn. Shout out to Lawrence. Leave a like if you're enjoying the live stream. Thank you so much for being here. I truly appreciate it. Shout out to Shakai, I got you. Shout out to Seals. Siles. I'm so sorry if I mispronounce your name. Shout out to is it Jurgen? I'm so sorry if I mispronounce your name. Shout out to Gabriella. Shout out to Jefferson. Shout out to Natalia. Shout out to Avril. Shout out to Halima. Shout out to Kai. Shout out to Astrid. Shout out to Ulysses. Shout out to Grace. Shout out to Sophia. Shout out to Jesus. Shout out to Seals, I got you. Shout out to Irene. Shout out to Alyssa. Shout out to Tanner. Shout out to Gianna. Shout out to Lucas. Shout out to Mary. Shout out to Kenya or Kanaya. Sorry if I mispronounce your name. Shout out to Bianca. Shout out to Trey Brimer. Thank you so much. I truly appreciate it. Shout out to Trey Brimer. Thank you for your support. Shout out to these people. Leave a like if you're enjoying the live stream. On to the next page. I live stream every day around the same time as this. I hope you can support my channel by leaving likes or subscribing or both. I would truly appreciate it. Your support means the world to me, so thank you so much for being here and for your patience. I know I don't write fast, so I appreciate you being here. Thank you so much. Shout out to Liviana. Shout out to Colin. Shout out to Rosie. Shout out to Junior. Shout out to Susanna. Shout out to Taylin. Shout out to Janelle. Shout out to Mila. Shout out to Paulina. Shout out to Tiana. Shout out to Mateo. Shout out to Jefferson. Shout out to Yoami. Sorry if I mispronounced your name. Shout out to Lynn. Shout out to Braylon. Shout out to Ariel. Shout out to Chai Young. Sorry if I mispronounced your name. Shout out to Ian. Shout out to Jenna Dean. Shout out to Marilyn. Shout out to Dylan. Shout out to Anna. Thank you for subscribing. Shout out to Jaretzi. Did I spell it correctly? I hope I did. Shout out to Chai Young. I got you. Shout out to Han. Shout out to Daniel. Shout out to Thomas. Shout out to Aveline. Sorry if I mispronounced your name. Shout out to Kaigo. Sorry if I mispronounced your name. Shout out to Sean. Shout out to Itati. Shout out to Michael. Shout out to Serena. Shout out to Dashiel. Or Dashiel. Sorry if I mispronounced your name. Shout out to Gracie. Shout out to Felicity. Shout out to Neon. Sorry if I mispronounced your name. Shout out to Sadaf. Happy birthday. Shout out to Swaxify. Sorry if I mispronounced your name. Thank you so much. I truly appreciate it. Shout out to Swaxify. Thank you for your support. Shout out to Tiffany. Shout out to Rose. Shout out to Caitlin. Shout out to Genesis. Shout out to Sharon. Shout out to Charles. Shout out to Liliana. Shout out to Zaylee. Shout out to Aleva. Sorry if I mispronounced your name. Shout out to Santiago. Shout out to Kaden. Shout out to Thiago. Shout out to Charlene. Shout out to Caris or Caris. Sorry if I mispronounce your name. Shout out to Lino. Shout out to Brielle. Shout out to Lily. Shout out to Josiah. Shout out to Addison. Shout out to Victoria. Shout out to Charlie. Shout out to Blake. Shout out to Amber. Shout out to Lumi. Shout out to Haley. Shout out to Peace. Shout out to Skylar. Shout out to Ari. Shout out to Laura. Shout out to Janae. Shout out to Alana. Leave a like if you're enjoying the live stream. Thank you so much for being here. I truly appreciate it. Shout out to Bridget. Shout out to Enrique. Shout out to Savvy. Shout out to Marlene. Shout out to Logan. Shout out to Holland. Sorry if I mispronounced your name. Shout out to Zainab. Shout out to Ruby. Shout out to Adeli. Shout out to Talisha. Shout out to Maya. Shout out to Cleo. Shout out to Lisa. I'm so sorry for your loss. Shout out to Miriam. Shout out to Jaden. Shout out to Suri. Shout out to Coco. Shout out to Irene. Shout out to Ernesto. Shout out to Anna. Shout out to Kevin. Shout out to Ruhama. Sorry if I mispronounced your name. Shout out to Izzy. Shout out to these people. Please like and subscribe if you're enjoying the live stream. On to the next page. I live stream every day around the same time as this. If you like the live streams, then please subscribe. I would truly appreciate it. Your support means the world to me. Thank you so much for being here. Also, please check out my channel. Like I mentioned before, I post other content on YouTube Shorts. I hope you can check it out and support as well. I would truly appreciate it. Thank you so much for being here. Shout out to Ahmed. Shout out to Samaya. Shout out to Makala. Sorry if I mispronounce your name. Shout out to Cassandra. Sorry if I mispronounce your name. Shout out to Sammy. Shout out to Michaela. Shout out to Adeline. Shout out to Abby. Shout out to Savi. Sorry if I mispronounce your name. Shout out to Carla. Shout out to Aria. Shout out to Crazy Place. Thank you so much for subscribing. Shout out to Benba. Shout out to Khalees. Shout out to Kaylee. Shout out to Mary. Shout out to Byron. Shout out to Angelina. Shout out to Aaliyah. Shout out to Angelica. Leave a like if you're enjoying the live stream. Shout out to Rosie. Shout out to Joshua. Shout out to Megan. Shout out to Marie. Shout out to Marin. Thank you for subscribing. Shout out to Savannah. Shout out to Penny. Shout out to Riley. Shout out to Lucia. Thank you for subscribing. Shout out to Ainoa. Sorry if I mispronounce your name. Shout out to Chloe. Shout out to Lisa. Thank you for stopping by. Shout out to Conlon. Shout out to Izzy. Shout out to Maya. Shout out to Mia. Shout out to Max. Shout out to Kenzie. Shout out to Ben. Shout out to Christella. Shout out to Isabel. Shout out to Christine. Shout out to Cash. Thank you for your patience. I'm so sorry. Shout out to Natalie. Shout out to Rocky. Whoops, I spelled Rocky wrong. There we go. Leave a like if you're enjoying the live stream. Please like and subscribe if you're enjoying the shout outs. Shout out to Zyra. Shout out to Crystal. Shout out to Kensley. Shout out to Zechuan. Sorry if I mispronounce your name. Shout out to Theo. Shout out to Draven. Shout out to Luca. Shout out to Luis. Shout out to Esther. Shout out to Raquel. Shout out to Draven, I got you. Shout out to Ikra. Shout out to Ella. Shout out to Felix. Shout out to Leonette. Thank you for subscribing. Shout out to Jedediah. Shout out to Bella. Shout out to Logan. Shout out to Sonia. Shout out to Emma. Shout out to Naomi. Shout out to Darby. Shout out to Farah. Sorry if I mispronounced your name. Shout out to Bong Chan. Sorry if I mispronounced your name. Please like and subscribe if you're enjoying the live stream. Thank you so much for being here. I truly appreciate it. Shout out to Alexis. Shout out to Lazira. I'm so sorry if I know I mispronounced your name. I'm so sorry. Shout out to Shauna. Shout out to Braylee. Shout out to Brooklyn. Shout out to Mila. Shout out to Sophia. Shout out to Trellin. Sorry if I mispronounced your name. Shout out to Caleb. Shout out to Soon Min. Sorry if I mispronounced your name. Shout out to Colton. Shout out to Diego. Shout out to Elijah. Shout out to Erica. Shout out to Jacob. Shout out to Clint. Shout out to Veda. Sorry if I mispronounced your name. Shout out to Joel. Shout out to Andrea. Shout out to Kyson. Shout out to Emma. Shout out to Elijah Ortiz. Shout out to Ivan. Shout out to these people. Thank you so much for being here. I truly appreciate it. Thank you for taking the time to write your name. I live stream every day around the same time as this. I hope you can like and subscribe and support my channel. Also check out my channel. I post on YouTube Shorts these kind of tutorials. Especially with Valentine's Day coming up. I also do Valentine themed cards as well. I hope you can check out and support my channel. I would truly appreciate it. Your support means the world to me. I also do these tutorials as well. Check out my channel. Thank you so much for being here. I will see you all next time. Take care. Bye.